there. Alright, so hopefully my live stream is working, because I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So, welcome everybody to the Emerald Hunters Club Application Clinic. This clinic is designed to help Emerald Hunters applicants who are looking to apply for us on August 7th, but also some general tips for anyone who's applying to a club or applying to some sort of leadership position within the SSO community. So I definitely appreciate everybody for coming out today, and I hope the clinic is informative. And yeah, let's go ahead. I will go ahead start sharing the screen. One thing that I'd like to just kind of warn everybody about. I have been having internet issues lately with pretty much like the cable company is doing something where we have no idea what's going on, but I've been having some internets going down. So if my internet goes down, I apologize. I will come back as soon as I can, but fingers crossed, nothing will happen. All right, so time for the slideshow. Alright, application clinic. So we have lots of different topics to talk about, as well as our kind of guidelines and things that we're kind of looking for in Emerald Hunters. So this sort of information is for the public. I know everybody in the audience right now is not going to do this, but just for everybody out there, the examples shown in this clinic are meant for demonstration purposes only. Please be sure to write your own original answers to any application questions, no matter if you're applying for Hunters or for anywhere else. If you are caught plagiarizing or blatantly copying our answers to these questions, you will be banned from applying to Emerald Hunters. I'm very sorry about that, but we can't allow that in our applications. Additionally, the information presented in this clinic is largely being representative of what Emerald Hunters is looking for, but once again, the information is also helpful for others who are looking to apply to other clubs or looking to apply to certain leadership positions. Alright, so first topic we're going to talk about is how to research clubs and why it's so important. So, the first topic, like, why do we need to research a club? Most of the time when we're looking for a club, we're just kind of looking, most people in the community are looking for something quick, and they're looking for something that, oh, I can have a club to be in, but at the same time, there are people who are looking very seriously into clubs, and, you know, they want to go through the process of, you know, learning about that club. So making sure that you research the club helps you meet, you know, your basic requirements. So, for example, if you are between the age of 13 and 16, you might want to be looking for a club that has members around the same age as you. If you have Discord and you want to have a club that uses Discord, make sure you're not aiming for a chat-commanded club. If you have certain horses that you like or want to use within the club that you join, make sure you're also asking the club, like, what club horse they have. And then also, too, talking about the disciplines. If you're looking for a club that does dressage, but you find another club that does, like, realistic roleplay stuff, that's not a club you would want to look for. So make sure you make, like, a small list of your personal requirements, so that when you research, you can narrow down your research of the clubs that you're looking for. The next topic about comparing club values and personalities with your goals. If you are a shy kind of person and it takes a little bit of time for you to warm up to other people, you may want a club that is very supportive of that versus a club who is, like, very energetic, very lively, very, you know, outgoing and stuff like that. Depending on your personality, you may have a harder time adjusting to that club, but of course, that's a matter of just, you know, figuring out that during your research. And then if your personal values align with one club, but they don't align with another club, you want to make sure you're spending more time looking into that club that does match with your values, such as if they're supportive of the LGBTQ+ community, if they are being encouraging of others, and other things like that. Sorry, I'm trying to, like, go kind of quickly because the writing demonstration is going to take a good portion of time here. When you research clubs, you'll want to be also looking for like what does the club actually do? Are you able to like see them in the game itself and not just like on social media to see what they're doing, right? So a lot of clubs, they're looking for you to be active a couple times a week, and if you can find them actually being active a few times a week, and like Steve's or the Riding Arena or anything like that, well then hopefully you can get a chance to just chat with them a little bit, and that can add to your research, right? Actually seeing them in the game really helps, kind of solidify what you've seen online versus what you see in game. Additionally, researching the clubs helps you, it kind of shows off that you're dedicated to actually apply to that club and you want to be a member of that club, and also shows that you're being honest. Because if you're researching a club and like you stumble upon like Saturn Mains or something like that and you just send in an application really quick, well, you may not, be able to tell Saturn Mains like, hey, this is what my goals are and stuff like that. You're just kind of applying for the sake of applying. So those are some 4 reasons why you need to do some research on your club. And when you do some research, definitely spend as much time as you can. I would recommend spending more time researching than you do actually in the application writing process. Because again, the more information you know about a club, the more that you get to kind of know them, the more likely you're going to be accepted, and the more likely, if you are accepted, that you have an understanding of what you're getting yourself into. Pink Queen's Legacy is here in the audience, but as you may know with PQL, they have a pretty packed schedule. They're always very active, and so if you're applying to them just for the sake of applying, then you may get yourself into a situation where you're like, oh shoot, I didn't know Pink Queen's Legacy was going to be like this, and that might be a tough situation for you. Let's see. Make sure you meet the requirements as best as you can. I will talk about this in a later slide, but it just makes it easier for you when you apply to actually tell that club or that group, hey, I meet your requirements. I can, I'm prepared to be in your club. This next part is sort of out of personal experience, but try to only apply to like one club at a time. If you're applying to multiple clubs at a time, club owners do talk with each other. We do know if people are applying to their clubs or our clubs at the same time and things like that. And, we also talk about if we plan to like accept you based on your answers and things like that. So if you're applying to like many clubs at the same time and many of those clubs accept you, then it can be kind of a sticky situation for the club owners to, hear that, oh, I'm going to Fairy Hooves, oh, I'm going to the Pioneers or something like that. So just, from a club owner perspective, it's a little tough for us if you apply and then accept somebody else. We don't recommend applying immediately when applications open. Usually applications for any organization are open for a good period of time, so take your time on the application. Spend any last time that you need to do some research. Really take time to draft your responses before you actually submit it. And then, just wait for your responses once you have. Don't skim over social platforms. Like, if you find the Instagram for Emerald Hunters and then you forget about, oh, we have a Discord, oh, we have a website, oh, we have a YouTube. Those different platforms can tell you different information that Instagram does not. So we always, club owners try to design all of our media for reasons, so that way you as the viewer, as the audience, can research us and get to know more about us. And finally, please don't ever lie in your applications or leave things out about yourself. Generally, we can find out if you're not being honest. So please be as honest as you can, and let us know if there's anything that we should know about yourself. Okay, more topics about researching. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but social media is usually your best bet, because as you know, Star Stable does not have any systems in-game beyond the global chat for advertising clubs. I hope they will add something like that, but they don't at this time. So social media being off of SSO is probably the best way to research a club. So all of these different platforms, they will show you something different depending on what it is. So Instagram is short form content versus YouTube is long form content. most of the time people have a Discord server where you can kind of just hang out and chat or get notifications in real time, and then websites have like more permanent information. But if you are going to use, SSO chats and things like that, you get to actually see people who are online, like I had mentioned earlier. Seeing that club like in-game versus just kind of seeing them online and never seeing them in-game, it just kind of strengthens that connection between the person who's applying and the club itself, because we actually get to see you and we get to chat with you in real time and talk about you and talk about our club and things like that. So again, the online presence within SSO is also helpful, but definitely social media is where you can get the most in-depth information. And yep, like I had said at the bottom here, the in-depth research tells us that you actually understand our club versus just knowing about it. Like, oh, I know about Terrific Tigers, I'm going to apply to them. Versus saying something like, oh yeah, Terrific Tigers is an amazing dressage club and their routines are really cool and things like that. So, if you show that you understand a little bit about us, that will definitely help with your chances of being accepted. So talking about what to look for on Instagram platforms, if you look at Instagram bios, right, if your bio is very informative, like PQL here, that can give you a lot of information before you even start scrolling down to look at their other posts or their highlights or anything like that. And then if you're looking at their individual posts, like reading their captions can be really helpful. This can help you understand what that club values. So for example, this is Storm Dragons, and this was a Pride post. So you can see that this club, very openly and clearly supports the LGBTQ plus community. And if you're looking for that kind of environment, then looking at their individual posts and reading their captions can help you understand that. And then also too, as a platform overall, Instagram is a great place to show support for other clubs. And if you see that the club you're looking for is supporting other clubs via tagging or doing collaborations or just doing shout outs or anything like that, that can show you that the club is interested in like reaching out to the community and not just being, kind of closed into their own little community and things like that. So yeah, just talking about how Instagram can be a great place to show how active you are. Just again, reaching out to your audience. All right, in terms of YouTube, YouTube is a great place for the long form content. So here you can show off different events and different topics, kind of like what we're doing right now, talking about a clinic. And then if we look at this third point, this is a personal opinion of mine, and this is something that has actually happened to me. The club owner's YouTube channel should not also be the club's YouTube channel. It makes it a little bit hard algorithmically to search for your content if you have all of your personal content on the same platform as the professional content, if that makes any sense. So here it's a little easier on your own, on the club's own YouTube channel to like sort things out into different types of playlists and things like that. And then also too, it just kind of separates club owners from sharing like overly personal opinions or I shouldn't say that, excuse me. Overly, how should I say? Things that are not related to your club that can be best, explained on a different platform, I should say. So let's see, you should also be looking for like the organization of these platforms as well, to, see like what kind of content are they doing, right? Are they making it exciting for the wider audience on YouTube to watch and enjoy and look at? On Discord, oh, by the way, all of these screenshots are linked to their respective platforms. So if you ever want to take a look at all of these like servers or pages or anything like that, you can just click on them once I share the presentation. So for Discord, The biggest thing I think you should look for in a club's Discord server is the organization. So is it easy to find information? Is it clear where information is? Are you able to navigate the server easily? So this is Jolly Stars. Part of what helps making the Discord server, easy to navigate is not having too many symbols and emojis and keeping it kind of on the clean side. Because you don't want people taking more time to find a channel than it takes to actually read the information in that channel. I've been in a couple servers where it's just like, I am so lost, I have no idea where to go because I just can't read any of the information. So again, looking at Jolly Stars here, right, they have a few categories about, notifications up here and basic information about their club here. And boom, if I wanted to look at information about Jolly Stars, it's right there. If I wanted to look at their outfit, boom, it's right there. And then in terms of the social environment on Discord, if it's relatively active, right, you see people chatting in like question of the day chats or chatting in general, that can give you an idea of sort of the environment that the club can show off. Of course, clubs usually will have their own private Discord servers, but at the same time, if those members of that club are actually active in the open server in addition to the private server, that can be a good indication of what the values are of that club, once again, right, to promote a safe and positive accepting place for all members. If the owner is chatting in the Discord, that's also a really good thing as well, right, because that can tell you like the club owner is just a person. They're not this person who is all high and mighty above all other people, and they're looking to reach out to people who are asking questions, people who are, just wanting somebody to listen to them or show off anything that they want. They can receive some compliments on that from the club owner, things like that. So, having a Discord server be really organized, as well as being active and being a safe place, that's also a good indication of what the club is about. For websites, websites typically are not updated, super often compared to like an Instagram or a Discord server or anything like that, but you want to be looking for information that is up to date, right? So if I told you that Emerald Hunters uses the white Andalusian, but you see a bunch of pictures using the gray Andalusian, the purple Andalusian, that might be a little bit confusing, right? So you want to look to see if the information is consistent with what the club owner says or what other platforms say about the club. And so, I literally just said it right here. The information is the same as on other platforms, right? So for Terrific Tigers, you would want to see this on their website as well as on their Discord server if they have one, which of course they do. Let's see. If we look at this third bullet point, the information is easy to understand or is different from other platforms. So, specifically with both of these websites, actually, this is Terrific Tigers and then this is Autumn Dreamers. They post their dressage dictionaries on their website because it's, a place where you can have that information kind of permanently and you don't have to take up like Discord channels to talk about this kind of stuff. And you have really good flexibility of formatting your dictionary on the website. So again, kind of looking at all of these different online platforms and seeing what they offer that's different from other places can also kind of help you like interact in different ways with the club, right? Because on Instagram you can share a post versus on Discord you can chat with members in real time, you can ask questions, and then on a website, websites generally are not the most social platforms, they're more just delivering information, but again, it's a good way of showing off what the club does. Alright, let's move on to the next topic really quick. 2:19. Okay, just checking time here. So, meeting requirements. This is a personal kind of opinion, but I think this goes for a lot of clubs that you are more likely going to be accepted into a club if you already meet all of the requirements. So like I had mentioned earlier, like doing the best that you can to meet requirements can help you in the application process not have to struggle to work to do certain things like getting outfits, getting horses, training them, things like that. So for most clubs, they have, requirements that are pretty strict, like they will not make exceptions, and some of them are semi-strict. So for example, for hunters, for the most part, most of our requirements are pretty strict, especially the zoom requirement. People need to have zoom for us. And then talking about like horses, you need to have the white Andalusian. We don't allow any other colors at this time anymore. And your active times, right? Making sure that you're active at the same time as that club is, so that way you can actually attend their activities. Also, another thing for us specifically is like making sure your contact info is correct, because like I said, we don't use Discord for, like communication for everything. We use it for some things, but not everything. So if we can't contact you, then it's hard for us to say like, hey, you were accepted. You're losing out on your spot if we can't contact you. And then semi-strict requirements. So some clubs, they'll say you can buy the uniform during your trial, versus some clubs will say you need to buy the uniform beforehand. Secondary horses usually is saying like, oh, you need to have this horse, but you can also buy the second horse if you want to. There's always the option. And then dressage levels, some clubs, they will take complete beginners. Some clubs, they will ask you to have a little bit of knowledge. Some clubs are going to ask you for even more than that. So depending on the club that you're applying for, you always want to make sure you ask the club like what their strictness is on those certain requirements. Usually the club will say like it's very strict that you are level 17. It's very strict that you have the Cremello Marwari or whatever for the club. Just double check and really make sure you are very clear on which requirements you can get at a later time if you need to, or which requirements you need to have already prepared. Alright, so up next is talking about the essay questions. These kind of examples here is like, I'm just giving you some ideas of what topics you can talk about, and these are the questions that are usually the hardest for people to answer. I have to mute for 1 second, my apologies. Okay, my apologies. Coming back to the clinic here. Slideshow. Alright, so again, the purpose of me showing these kind of bullet points is just to say like, hey, these are the questions that people tend to struggle on, and here are some topics that you could talk about to answer these questions. So why do you want to join club name? So one reason you could talk about is, well, what stands out to you about that club? That your club is unique for this reason. Next, you can talk about how the club can help you with certain goals. I want to be in this club because I think it will help me improve my dressage technique. Next up, you can talk about perhaps your personality and what you, how your personality can influence the club. And so for example, like, I'm a shy but studious person, and I think that will help others who are trying to learn dressage for the first time. Finally, you can talk about what activities you want to participate in, right? So if you're looking for like a realistic roleplay club, you can say that you're interested in the show jumping team. And you can say that you're interested in being an instructor for the club. The next question is can be a little easier, right? Tell us about yourself because you know yourself better than anybody else. But yeah, here are some topics you can talk about, like your hobbies, any career goals, like if you want to be a teacher, if you want to be a scientist. Talk about your personality. How do you behave or act in certain situations? What do you like to do to help people? Anything like that. You can also talk about your culture, like your family and traditions that you may have. That can be interesting to club owners. And then these two bottom bullet points here, you can talk about anything that you couldn't explain earlier. So like just kind of elaborating in more detail about anything that you couldn't fully answer beforehand. And then yeah, any important information we should know about you. So again, I will go into this in the sample, but let's go ahead and move on for now. And then once I finish... Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Once I finish this slide here, I will take questions, and then we will look at the sample essay questions. So, general tips for writing your application, like actually writing itself. We can usually tell your age by the way that you write, but that's not always the case. It's not a direct correlation. So if your writing has like lots of grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes, if your answer is kind of all over the place with what you're talking about, that may mean a variety of things. Like you didn't take the time to proofread it, you didn't really take the time to make sure all of the information is correct, and that is more likely that we're going to skip over your application just because we might not fully understand it, or we just felt that the professionalism wasn't quite there. You always want to think about club applications as kind of like a real job application, right? Putting your best foot forward is really important. So the next bullet point, again, making sure that you're being honest with us. If there's something in your club history or your past that may affect how you are in the club that you're applying for, please let us know. That way we can decide if we can help you with that situation or if we want to step away from that situation. So again, third bullet point, please do the best that you can to use proper spelling and grammar and punctuation. Remember again that this is a sort of professional activity that you're doing. You are applying for a club. You're not texting or chatting with the club in this form, right? You're again putting your best foot forward. I would say this fourth bullet point is like one of the most important things. Make sure you're writing with high quality. So really thinking about what you're saying, and if you have an idea that you want to talk about, explain it in depth. Really make sure you explain in clear language for that club owner, because the club owners or the club leaders are looking at your application, and if you just say something like, "Oh, I'm shy, I like dressage, I have some dogs," and things like that, that doesn't really tell us too much about yourself, and we just kind of have to guess who you are. And we don't want to have to do that. We want to get to know you as much as possible in this application because you are essentially a stranger to us. So when you're applying to a club for like the first time and they've never seen you, again, the application is a way for us to get to know you before we accept you into the club. So the more detail you can write about yourself, the better. And if you can explain yourself clearly, just to make it like dead obvious for the club owner about who you are, the easier it is for us to figure out, okay, are we going to accept you? Are we going to reject you? Anything like that. Make sure you answer the question. So if the question talks about your dressage history, like what dressage clubs you've been in, I would not talk too much about how much you like to make outfits in that question. You can leave that topic for another time. So yeah, make sure you're staying on topic with that particular question. Again, make sure that, to the best of your ability, show what you know about the club, show what you understand about the club. Some clubs out there, they will kind of, let's say, like maybe a newer club, they may not have something like this where, like, they're a bigger club just yet, and they don't have everything compared to a bigger club, but you should still demonstrate what you know about the club. So like, I know for sure that they use the Black Marwari. I have the Black Marwari. I know for sure that they're on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'm on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So even if you're just like chatting with them in game and you're kind of just doing an interview right then and there, then you can demonstrate that you're ready and prepared for that. Let's see, provide legitimate reasons why you want to join the club, because especially when you're starting to look at bigger clubs, they will sometimes receive applications that say, oh, I want to join your club because you're popular on Instagram. Oh, I really like the editing that you do on your Instagram posts. Oh, I really like the YouTube videos because Beck is really cool and Beck is really famous. Well, that's not the greatest reason. You want to be joining because of the club as a family, as a group, as a group of people who are professionals, as a group of people who are very social and active with each other. So just kind of looking at the vanity metrics, you want to kind of move beyond that stuff when you're applying to a club. Creating a resume can really help you figure out like what you've done in the community and like if you have any leadership experience. 231, okay. And for example, if you're like an instructor for a club, or you're like a content creator that helps certain individuals and things like that, that can be really helpful to kind of organize your thoughts before you actually start writing in the application. So in the future, I will do a little clinic on how to create a Star Stable resume, but again, just having the resume is more of an organizational tool to figure out like what you've done in the SSO community, and things like that. Okay, so at this point, we will move on to the sample essay questions. But before we do that, do we have any questions from our audience about any of the topics we've discussed so far? Go ahead and put your answers in the voice chat. And while people are typing, I will check the live stream here. So there is a question in the live stream chat. Do y'all do dressage testing for trials? No, we don't do that anymore. We used to, but the only testing that we do is kind of at the end of their trial, not at the beginning. So we used to do placement tests, and it just kind of was not the most organized process, so we decided to remove it. But all of our members, when they rank up to our next dressage level, so from beginner to intermediate, intermediate to advanced, etc., they will take an exit test. So I hope that answers your question. And let's now move back to the voice chat, see if there's any questions here. Alrighty. So I think then I'll go ahead and move on to the sample responses. I'm going to warn you now, these are quite long, but the idea is to show you how much detail that could be really helpful in your application responses. So these are all questions that are used on the Emerald Hunters application, but they can be similar to like other clubs and things like that. But again, the idea is for us to get as much information about you as possible before we actually meet you for like an interview or in game or anything like that. So just kind of skimming here, but let's take a deeper look right now. Once again, as a reminder, please do not copy or plagiarize any of the material that is used in this demonstration. The contents will be linked, so that the PowerPoint here and this sample document will be linked in the Emerald Hunters Discord server, the website as well, so you can reference all of that. Right, so we want our applicants to describe how active they are and what their weekly schedule is like to see if they have any conflicts with our practice times. Hello to whoever joined. Thank you for joining the call. It's nice to have you here. So again, this is a sample of everything. So on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, this applicant is available at this time here, right? They talk about the fact that they're in school, what their school schedule is, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, their schedule changes a little bit. I return home and I have marching band rehearsal from 3 to 6, so I cannot get on SSO on this day, which should be these days. Let me actually do that right now. These days. And then Saturdays and Sundays, this applicant is usually free on the weekends, but then they add this. So I understand that EH does not have any activities on the weekends. So this shows me that this applicant knows what our schedule looks like, right? So these annotations here are just kind of notes for me, but it also kind of helps you guys. When I share this document, you won't be able to see these annotations, unfortunately, but yeah, just kind of having that here to help explain everything. So then the applicant goes on to talk about what other things they're doing in their life. So they do have some family events every 2 weeks or so. Currently, they are not having work responsibilities outside of actually being there. And then I have to practice my instrument for 2 hours a day, but I usually do that after Star Stable. So again, this little paragraph here is just kind of showing me that, oh, this person does have a life outside of Star Stable, and, you know, we have to be knowledgeable about that. The next question, please list all of the dressage clubs you've been in or owned. Provide as much information as you can. Sometimes you may run into an issue where you just don't remember, like, how many clubs you've been in, what the club was like, or anything like that, and that's okay. Just do the best that you can of the clubs that you do remember. So, by the way, this application responses is all based on Beck's personal experience and stuff like that, but I'm pretending it's a different applicant. Okay. So, summer ponies. So this was a chat-commanded club. I learned basic dressage in the club, different experiences with line leading and being in line, but I left this club. Okay, so that's an important piece of information. I left the club versus being kicked out or being removed or anything like that. And so when we look at this answer, right, so this one talking about the dressage history and telling us about how the applicant ranked up in that club, what they actually did in this club as a member. So you can tell us, you know, the name of the club and what rank you were. That's also really helpful. And then Emerald Hunters. It's kind of funny to, like, talk about myself as a pretend applicant, but so talking about how this club was made and what else I did in this club. So I regularly attended these types of lessons, and then I ranked up to an instructor. Okay, so that's different than Summer Ponies, because I didn't really rank up in this, the applicant, I should say, did not really rank up in this club, but they did when they were in Emerald Hunters. And then Emerald Hunters apparently was being owned by this applicant at the time, and this is what they did when they were the owner. I'm gonna take a quick water break. My voice is getting dry here. So then you can talk about some notable achievements that you have, right? In this case, it shows that the applicant is very active and very passionate about reaching out to the community. And so let's move on to the next topic. So you can kind of explain, you know, like why you were removed or left those clubs in this question, but you know, here is, you know, a place where you can be more detailed about that. So with Summer Ponies, there was some drama in that club, and then the applicant left the club, versus when they were in Emerald Hunters, the club was passed down to a different owner, and then with Emerald Hunters as the owner this time, my goals have shifted, and I've chosen to pass on Emerald Hunters as to a new owner to return to the member experience. This is not true. By the way, I'm not passing Emerald Hunters down. This is, again, just fake for the purpose of demonstration. For hunters, we do want to know if you've ever been in competitions before or done any performances. So the applicant has been a commander and choreographer for all of these routines, but then also too, they participate in realistic roleplay organizations. So again, this is just kind of demonstrating like, hey, I'm active in the community and I like to challenge myself, right? So sharing that kind of trait about yourself can be helpful to a club owner. And then this is the bunny question here. This is the big meat of the, I don't know why I said it like that, but it's like the most, one of the most important questions on the application for Emerald Hunters at least, and probably for most other clubs. Why do you want to join? So just skimming this, you will notice that this is basically a 5-paragraph essay. You don't have to write a 5-paragraph essay, but if you do, that will help us as club owners immensely, okay? Because it shows that you're gonna take time to put some detail about yourself. So here are 3 reasons that I want to join Emerald Hunters. First reason is because I saw your very specific video, okay? I listed it, the applicant listed out a video that they watched, and Beck's great commanding style stood out to the applicant. I like that the commanding style was this. Second very clear reason, I'm in the Hunters Discord server and I like the environment. Okay? Let's see. I just got a notification. Okay. I like the environment there because Catherine Shortcloud is very funny, and also I like that the flowchart and the application FAQ channel are very helpful. So again, really pointing out very, very, very specific details about what you know about the club. Finally, on Instagram, I saw your Instagram, and Beck was showing things about the dressage method. I think the dressage method is very helpful, and I want to be a part of that. Okay, so just skimming it for now. And then this paragraph kind of talks about what the applicant can do for the club. How will they benefit hunters, and how can hunters benefit them? So let's see. I believe I can be a great asset by brainstorming ideas for routines, and I also want to participate in them. I also believe that I can be helpful in attending practices and meetings and offering constructive feedback to staff to help the club grow. Okay, so again, showing what you can offer for the club and how the club can offer something to you. Once again, this is a very long answer, but something like this would also be acceptable, right? Because it still points out very specific things about the hunters, instead of saying something like, well, I saw you guys on YouTube and I think your club is really cool. I saw you guys practicing in the arenas one time and your timing is really good. Those are very generic answers, and we're looking for something more specific related to our club that, you know, wouldn't apply to like someone else, for example, right? Because Saturn Mains does not have a video called Inside a Beginner Lesson. Let's see, if we look at, I don't know, the Pioneers, they don't have, you know, this very specific guideline on how to make a lesson plan. I'm sure they have something like this in real life, but, you know, Hunters, this is what Hunters does. So, right, pointing out very specific details to make it seem like, you know, this is the club for you, right? Versus, you know, generalizing it and saying, you know, like, oh, this is such a cool club and things like that. You can say that about any club, right? So really pinpointing very specific details, like, helps you stand out, because you're not just some random follower on those platforms that is just trying to apply. You know, you're like actually wanting to participate and put your full effort forward for that club. Okay, kind of the last question here. So tell us about yourself. We want Hunters wants to know about people's Star Stable background and their personal background. don't go too personal. We don't need to know, like, where you live or anything like that. But, like, you know, you could tell us things about, you know, what you do in your real life. So for Star Stable background, right, this is a great place to show off any achievements that you have. If you've ever been an instructor for a guest instructor, a guest clinician, or, you know, did something on a social platform that really got some traction, definitely put that in there if you have that background. If not, it's okay, because not everybody, you know, is quite this active. And again, it's okay, but if you've ever even just helped somebody in the Star Stable chat, like if you are helping new players learn where places are, if you're helping them figure out what kind of horse that is, you know, that person is riding, that can be something to put in here, because this shows us, like, hey, you're, you know, active in the community and you're wanting to take part in it to the best of your abilities. Let's see. Moving on to, like, personal backgrounds, right? This is a good place to talk about your personality and how you tend to behave and react to certain things. You can talk about your habits, right? If you are a studious person, if you are somebody who likes to organize things, likes to help people, or you know, likes to cook or anything like that. You know, anything that tells us about yourself as a person. Again, it just helps us get to know you, because you are a stranger, and the closer we can connect to you now, the better. Let's see. Talking about your hobbies, right? So just things that you like to do outside of Star Stable. Because, of course, everybody does something outside of the game when they're not playing. So we want to know what that is, and then, you know, when or if you're accepted, then you can see, like, oh, there's people who I can relate to in the club. There's people who I can talk to about certain situations. So yeah, just making it easy for club owners to understand who you are, and then possibly make the connections with our current members. All right, final question on the Hunter's application. Do you have any other questions about the club, or is there anything else we should know? So I will tell you that we have had a couple of applicants who have used this question to tell us something about themselves that they did not tell us about in this question. So we did have an applicant who was visually impaired, which means that I, as the club owner, needed to make accommodations during dressage practices. We have had, I think in the past, individuals with life challenges that they needed to have understandings about, and so they told us about that in here. And, you know, finally as well, we've had some applicants who did not speak English fluently. So that means as an instructor, I need to take extra time to just double check that everything is clear for the rider, and make sure I do demonstrations, make sure I explain in different words and things like that, just in case they needed it. So again, this is a great opportunity to tell us anything that we should know. Let's see, and then if you have any questions about the club, again, a great place to put that is right here. We would prefer if you ask the questions after you do your research. Like, if you are trying to research a certain question that you have and you still can't find the answer, then you can kind of answer it, ask in here. But I know some clubs are okay with, you know, answering questions as much as possible, and that's totally fine. It's just a matter of, like, understanding what the club does to, you know, answer those questions. Alright, so once again, this was a very long sample, but it does give you a good idea of who this applicant is, what their background is, and why they want to join Emerald Hunters. So I hope this seeing this sample can give you an idea of some topics you can talk about, and what kind of organization and explanations that we're looking for. So at this time, we have 10 minutes left. Is there any comments, questions, or concerns that you guys may have about applying for clubs, or writing, or researching, or anything like that? And I see that Alyssa Mistook has joined the call. Thank you so much for joining us. Nice to have you here. Hello, welcome, Bunny. We are just in the Q&A portion right now. Kathy, I like your quote, the purple Andalusian. It's true, it's purple. Alrighty. So I think then at this point I will go ahead and conclude the clinic. Once again, thank you all so much for coming out to listen in or ask questions or watch the live stream or anything like that. I really do appreciate it, and I do hope it helps future applicants for Emerald Hunters or for any of your clubs to really stand out in the application process and really show off who they are. Let's see. Once again, I will be sharing all of the links to the slideshow, the sample document here, as well as this live stream itself. I will be sharing that within the Discord channel and the website, and I hope that is... Kathy says the purple firefighter horse. Yes, it is a purple, very purple horse. Let's see, what was I just talking about? Sorry, I tend to get distracted like that, but I still hope the information is helpful and stuff. Let's see. Oh yes, so as a reminder, the applications for Emerald Hunters are going to be opening on August 7th, so that is in 2 days. So August 7th at 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. They're going to close on August 12th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, I'm really excited for all of you to apply or share this knowledge with any of your clubs or the community. And I hope you all have a great day. Thank you everybody for coming. Bye everybody. Bye everybody in the live stream. Thank you all so much for coming. Hope you have a great day.
Lingering in the call.
Uh-huh.
You're still lingering here?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm ending the stream here, so... Okay. Where is the thing?